Welcome to Into the Blue, presented by Penelope Bourbon, a weekly look behind the scenes of the Tampa Bay Lightning with reporters Gabby Shirley and Ben Pierce.
Hello! Welcome to another episode of Into the Blue. Yes, Gabby Shirley coming at you from Denver, Colorado. Ben, you are in Tampa. How you doing? Do you miss me yet?
Yeah, of course. I was gonna open this with, man, it's only been 48 hours, and geesh, where's Gabby Shirley? I'm gonna put my glasses on though, because I'm getting old and I can't read the paper in front of me. So
Oh wow, yeah, glasses on.
yeah, we'll get the nerd look going here.
It's okay, I got contacts in. We're all good.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna get right into it. The Tampa Bay Lightning are on their first 3-game road trip of the season, their longest road trip of the season thus far. They beat the Utah Mammoth on Sunday, an afternoon game, 4-2. They have the Colorado Avalanche coming up and the Vegas Golden Knights. So, Ben, it is not an easy road trip for the Lightning, but they started off on the right foot, 5 straight wins.
Yeah, they're buzzing. You know, I love that to use that term, but like Tampa Bay to start the year, I think a lot of people were asking like what's going on, mostly because this team couldn't find wins at home. And this has been one of the NHL's best teams on home ice over the last 5-10 years. Now, the other side of that, if there was good news, was Tampa Bay was having success on the road. And some of the guys were telling us in the locker room, maybe it'll be a good thing for us to go on the road here and just kind of spend some time with the guys and try to find some W's that way. So the Lightning are 3-1-2 on the road this season after last night's a great win in Utah. It's a .667 points percentage, and somewhere I'm sure Steven Buck is listening to this right now doing that crazy 6-7 meme thing with his hands because he's a child. But we'll get back to hockey and adult things. Sorry, Bucky. The Lightning are in the NHL's top 10 right now as a road team. And last year, they finished 17th. So if, you know, at the start of the year, we were wondering, like, what's going on with the Lightning at home, the road wins and the road points were still coming. Now it seems they've corrected the issues at home and the road points are still coming. That's a big deal. They played quite well on the road. And I don't know if anybody said it better than John Cooper post-game last night. He said, you know, that's exactly what they're going to need against Cale Makar in Colorado and against a Vegas Golden Knights team that took the Lightning to overtime literally last week. They're going to have to play a really solid defensive game.
Well, don't change the way we're playing. And, you know, this is a grind because, you know, now we have a really, you know, high-level, you know, Colorado team, and then we got to go in and play Vegas. So just can't take our feet off the gas. We had a slow start to the season and we kind of clawed our way back here, but it's a long way to go.
John Cooper said it best. That was from Sunday after the win against the Utah Mammoth. Yeah, Ben, I mean, right, Tampa Bay Lightning slow start. You're focusing on the road wins. I just feel like the Lightning couldn't win at all. They only had one win in their first 6 or 7 games. So now they're coming. John Cooper said the other night, this team is a different team for whatever reason, whether it was just, the big guys didn't really play that much in the preseason. It took them a little bit to find their groove, or I don't know, different tweaks that they made or a focus on defense or whatever it may be. This Tampa Bay Lightning team, as you said, is buzzing right now, and they're going to need it. The Colorado Avalanche, top team in the Central Division, most points in the NHL, most goals for, most shots for per game, 4th best PK. Tampa Bay Lightning has the 3rd best PK, and the top 3 players for the Avalanche are being their top 3 players, with Nathan MacKinnon having 19 points already. Cale Makar with 18 and Necas with 17. So big game for the Lightning as they continue on this road trip.
Yeah, that Necas, like, he signs that big deal with Colorado and just another example of a guy who like just with that team.
You're at a loss for words.
well, because like Marty Necas is a guy who, again, in Carolina, I think was underrated. Because he's playing in that Carolina system where it truly is a 12-forward effort where you're probably not going to see a guy outside of Sebastian Aho maybe who scores that 80, 90 points. And a lot of times there's such a buy-in on the team defense, the team offense, and it's just the way the system goes. He goes to a new team, and what happens? He absolutely explodes offensively playing with one of the NHL's best players. Like, how many different guys have left Carolina, gone to a different NHL team, and we just see their game explode off. It happens
Poor Hurricane.
all the time. And like Marty Necas might be the perfect winger for the Colorado Avalanche. And it's just another weapon for a team that, like you said, already has the top, for sure, offensive defenseman in the NHL in Cale Makar. And no offense to Quinn Hughes, who obviously Quinn Hughes is a heck of a defenseman in his own right. But Cale Makar is otherworldly. Like, you watch what this guy can do with his skating, and then you combine the puck work. Like, Cale Makar is probably a point-per-game player as a forward. The guy's doing it as a defenseman. He's insane. And, I'd love, maybe you'll ask Hetty this, but I'd love to see what Victor Hedman thinks of Cale Makar. Like, what could I'd love to know if Victor Hedman was coming up in today's game, would you be more Cale Makar? Like, how much like Cale Makar do you think your game would be? Do you think you would have still been that kind of middle ground of I'm going to score 60 to 80 points a year and play very solid defensively? Or do you think, Victor, like, you could be a 90 to 100 point defenseman? It's kind of a fun, like, how different would your game be if you'd come up around this time? And I wonder what the answer would be, because obviously Lightning fans have been lucky to see Victor kind of bring the best of both worlds in that way. But
right.
What Cale Makar is doing is insane, and it's going to be a great test. And Colorado, once again, looks to be one of, if not the top team in the Western Conference.
And then jumping right on ahead, Ben, to the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday. They are second in the Pacific Division with 15 points. And they also have a top player in Jack Eichel, who has the same amount of points as Nathan MacKinnon, 19 thus far this season, tied for second in the league.
And a team that's missing a lot of guys, right? Like, this is a team that's doing it with a lot of key pieces injured, right? They came in here last week, and the list of guys that they were missing from the last time they played the Lightning, we're looking at Pietrangelo, Stone. They were missing their starting goalie that night, Aiden Hill. Like, you're going up and down the lineup like, wow. And they still took Tampa Bay to overtime, right? Obviously, the Lightning were able to pull out the win there. But what Vegas has done this season, despite missing some key pieces, I think has kind of flown a little bit under the radar. Like, they've been really impressive, and Jack Eichel has been such a key piece of that. And when Vegas went out and traded for Jack Eichel from Buffalo, people were saying, like, is Jack Eichel, was he worth that pick, that top 2 pick? Like, what was he worth it? In any other year, was he worth all that hype? And he's shown every bit of that. He goes to Vegas, and what does he do? Wins a cup right away. And now, especially now that Mark Stone's out, and Mark Stone, I think, especially as a winger, kind of these last couple of years, and injuries, unfortunately, have kind of derailed a little bit of these last couple of years of his career. But Mark Stone, I think, in a lot of ways, is what Nikita Kucherov is, right? Like, this is a winger who brings so much dynamic offense, but is really strong as a two-way player, has a sneaky pass, and kind of has that snarl to his game. And Stone more than Cooch, I think, in that regard, the physicality of it. Mm-hmm. But like, Mark Stone was for so long so good as a winger, it almost playing like a center. Like, he brings so much that you forget sometimes that he's not playing in the middle of the ice. And those are big holes to fill, and Vegas has done a really good job. So despite missing those guys, it's going to be another good test. Again, they just went to overtime the other night, and like Coop said it best, it's going to be another good test down the road. So it'll be interesting to see how the Lightning handle that.
A big key to more Lightning victories will be the Tampa Bay Lightning defense. Ben, after that win on Sunday, again, over Utah, granted the question kind of warranted it, but like, another 1-goal game, how were you guys able to close it out? And everyone just pointed straight to defense. Everyone's pleased with how they're playing defensively. Over this 5-game win streak, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they allowed 3 goals in one game, but the other 4, it was 2 goals or 1 goal. So again, they're not allowing teams to score easily, and that's what they're going to have to do against these other teams, because they have players that can put the puck in the net.
Yeah, and it's truly been a 5-man effort defensively, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're seeing guys block shots, and we talked on the Lightning audio network the other night, like the Lightning radio. I think now, these last couple of games, you're seeing more mid-season Lightning hockey. I think those first couple of games, Gabby, we were seeing turnovers that we don't typically see from the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Guys who would get to the blue line, and typically when that puck gets chipped out, that puck, for whatever reason, wasn't getting out of the defensive zone. It just wasn't happening. And part of that, honestly, is probably just early season hockey. You're trying to get your brain right.
Yeah,
You're still getting in the
trying to
flow
find
of
their
hockey.
groove.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, like you said, a lot of these guys didn't play much in the preseason. And it's hard to go from cold turkey, it's practice, to full speed NHL regular season hockey. That's a hard thing to do. And the defense has really amped up. You mentioned this 5-game win streak. The Lightning have outscored their opponents 17-9. Now, those 9 goals since October 25th, second fewest in the NHL over that time. And the Vegas is also up there, and so are the Florida Panthers. We'll ignore the last part. But, like, 1.8 goals against per game is what Tampa Bay is allowing during this 5-game win streak. Under 2. Now, if you're an NHL team and you're keeping other teams less than 2 goals per game, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. And John Cooper said a big part of that is the odd man rushes.
Just, you can't give them the rushes. So manage the puck. And, we started, it was a strange game. I don't think there was much rushes either way, but if a team made a mistake, both teams has the ability to make you pay. But that's what we limited ourselves tonight.
How many times in the opening 5-6 games did it seem like back and forth hockey, and then all of a sudden it's a 3-on-1 rush for the other team? And you're like, where did that come from, right? Yeah. It's the Lightning have a good chance in the offensive zone, and then it's a 4-on-2 for the other team. They go down and score, and a 2-2 game is 3-2. It happened, and a couple times it was late in the third period, and all of a sudden you think you're getting a point, now you're not. I think back to even that last game against Chicago before this win streak started. The Lightning looked like they're going to get some points, a couple of rush chances, and all of a sudden you're coming away with nothing. And they've done a really, really good job of cutting down on those rushes. And in the NHL, when you're playing against the top NHL goalies, something that even Coop said this last week again, like Andrei Vasilevsky is one of the best goalies in the NHL. But you're playing against the top NHL forwards in the NHL. You give those guys 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 3-on-2 rushes, eventually they're going to score. They're going to find those spots. And the Lightning have just done such a better job of cutting down on those odd man rushes these last couple of games to allow for this win streak.
Absolutely. Yeah. Utah scored their first goal on a breakaway. And I felt like soon after that, they weren't getting those chances because the Tampa Bay Lightning, whatever adjustments they made, whatever tweaks they made mid-game actually worked. Shocking. Talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning defense, Ben, there should be a return coming over this 3-game road trip. I don't know why I had to say it like that. Max Crozier, according to John Cooper, he will play at some point on this road trip, quote unquote, for sure. So what do you think the addition of Crozier back into the Tampa Bay Lightning defense will do for this team? Does it make you anxious because the Lightning have been winning without him?
I don't think so at all. It's a good problem to have, right? Especially with the way that Dastu has played these last couple of games, and we saw Ratty come back in, Lightning win. The Lightning all of a sudden, look, they've got 8 NHL defensemen to pick from.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I mean, you can't probably stick with 8 on the NHL roster. I'd assume at some point there's probably a roster move coming. But what a fantastic issue to have. And again, I hate to keep pointing the arrow at Coop, but Coop said before the team left, like, I would way rather have the stress of I have to pick between 2 guys to play than sit here and go, how am I going to find another guy to play tonight, right? Like the Lightning have the problem right now of they have too many NHL guys, which even a calendar year ago today, the Lightning didn't have that issue, right? We were looking for, are the Lightning going to go 12-6 because we weren't sure what the forward makeup was going to look like, or are they going to go 11-7? And at that point, Emil Lilleberg hadn't quite established himself as a full-time NHL defenseman yet. He was well on his way, but he didn't even have a full season of games to his belt yet. And so it was kind of like, what exactly do we have here? And now all of a sudden, we have almost too many options to pick from. And that's a great problem to have. I think Max Crozier has been really stable. And that's the word that kind of comes to my mind, is he looks like a guy who, despite being in his first full NHL season, being a rookie in the NHL, he looks like he's played in the NHL for the last couple of years. I mean, the guy's got 3 points in 4 games, and as a defenseman, I don't know that offense is the most reliable stat you can look at.
Important.
But he's looked right at home. and we've seen him play with different guys. Like we saw him with Hetty and with McDonough for a couple of shifts, and with Lilleberg and Rad. Like we've seen him kind of move up and down. He's been really good, and for a guy who's killed some penalties as well, I just think it's another great, kind of weapon in the fold here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Coop said as much when we talked to him on Friday. Like, this is a guy that, quite frankly, we're excited to have back.
Yes, we would expect him again at some point on this road trip. 2 more games. So hopefully he gets in. And I'm interested, Ben, to see where they put him. He's a righty D-man. He has been playing on the right side. So Moser and Hedman, Moser's probably not moving. McDonough, Chernak, we haven't seen that pair change at all. So it would appear that he would be on that third pair on the right. Dustu right now is on the left. Lilleberg is on the right as of last game. So again, we'll see what the Tampa Bay Lightning do. They could always go 11-7 as they've done in the past.
So what would you do?
We'll see. As John Cooper is talking about the silver lining and what problem he would rather have, I'm a little bit softer, and I don't like sitting guys.
See, that's fair. But again, like it's a great problem to have. And again, I don't think even a year ago.
I disagree personally, but that's why I don't have to make these choices.
That's fair.
Thank
that's
goodness.
Fair. But even when we were recording this podcast a calendar year ago today, I think every podcast we had a pretty good idea of, okay, the team plays tomorrow. Here's the lineup. Here's probably what the lines are going to look like. Every single game we're coming into this, Gabby, and I feel like you and I both are looking at each other like we might see some shifting on almost every single line or pairing of these last couple of games, and that's a great problem for this team to have.
Thank goodness John Cooper is in charge. Okay, our third and final topic here to start off into the blue. Simple. It's a name, Ben. Anthony Cirelli. He has 7 goals, 4 assists for a total of 11 points in 12 games played. Most goals on the team. Best plus minus on the team at a +7. And I went back. I feel like there is definitely an easier way to do this, but looked at all his previous seasons. This is his second best start to an NHL season in regards to points. Last season, shocker, when he set all of those career highs, he had 12 points in the first 12 games, but only 2 goals. So the goals, 7 of them in 12 games, that is by far the most goals he has had to start a season. His previous high was 4 goals. So this guy is on an absolute tear. What have you seen from him?
Like, first off, the guy is just on, like, tear's the right word, but he's a skating highlight reel right now. Like, the backhand finish on that breakaway in overtime against Dallas the other night was an absolute highlight reel.
Yep.
Put the goalie in a blender kind of beauty, right? And then he follows it up with that bomb of a one-timer last night on the 2-1 goal against Utah.
I didn't even see it, Ben.
The rink didn't know that puck was in the net. The net didn't even move. It was like the kind of one-timer that you expect from like a Victor Hedman, who, with like a massive 6'7" human being. It was a missile. It was like, and the thing about Cirelli, he's scoring in so many different ways right now.
Right.
It's breakaways, redirections, rebounds, power play goals. I think the only thing he doesn't have right now is a shorthanded goal. And last year he had 4 of them? Like, it's probably coming at some point.
Probably coming.
The biggest thing for me right now is point blank. Anthony Cirelli has a very strong argument that he's been Tampa Bay's best player this season. And I would say it's going to be pretty hard to argue against that. Jake Gensel's been really good too. But Anthony Cirelli has been phenomenal. And the offense, I think, for Anthony Cirelli over last season, what we saw, and he credited Brandon Hagel a lot last year for helping him grow in that regard. He said that Hags kind of brings that out of me a little bit. But at the start of this season, before Brandon Hagel went on what's been a tremendous tear in his own right, the guy's got 4 goals in his last 4 games. But Brandon Hagel's offense wasn't there, and Anthony Cirelli was still finding ways to score. And he was leading the team in offense. And again, at a time when Hags wasn't scoring, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, your typical leading scorers weren't scoring goals. Anthony Cirelli was still finding the net for a guy who kind of broke into this league as your quote-unquote defensive specialist.
Right.
Like, his game has evolved even over the last 12 months that I've been here. I've I would say Anthony Cirelli's game has probably grown more than any player that since I've been here at least, has grown more than anybody else. It's been so interesting to watch, particularly his shooter's mentality. I think he isn't afraid to shoot the puck. And so often, how many times in a rink do you hear the word shoot over the course of a 60-minute NHL game from the fans who that's their favorite word, right? We hear the shoot all the time, especially on the power play. Cirelli has done such a good job of picking his spots, but the offense, he's been their best player.
And that leads so nicely, Ben, into our first question on the Blue Line segment. This one is from Keith. Cirelli is always very good as a puck hound and a shutdown player, defensive forward. Now the kid has a great shot also. Is Anthony, quote unquote, feeling it during interviews? Can you sense a renewed confidence in his game? And Ben, not to pick apart Keith's question by any means, but this quote unquote renewed confidence, I mean, I feel like it's been just steadily increasing over the course of the past few seasons. As we already said, he set career highs in goals, assists, obviously points last year. So the offense is growing. His confidence is growing. I don't think it's just this season, but it's really nice to see.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thought, honestly. And first off, we appreciate all the questions. We got some really great questions this week, guys. So keep those coming. But my first thought was, I don't know if confidence is the right word, but I would say that preparedness, maybe. Like when I had Anthony Cirelli last week for the pregame interview, I would say it was the same kind of Anthony Cirelli that I've gotten to work with over the last year. But I was really impressed by just the locked-in game day focus. You could tell when he walked in, his answers were so... It was almost like an NFL quarterback reading from a playbook, right? It was very thoughtful, but you could tell that he almost had the night's game plan circling in his head. He knew exactly what he needed to do that night, what his focus was, what the team had to do. And it wasn't just, I need to get this interview over with. He was really thinking about it, and you could tell that it wasn't just an on-the-spot answer. He had really kind of let those thoughts marinate, and he was thinking, what is my job tonight? This is just me speaking, but I really think Anthony Cirelli is evolving into a leader by example in this dressing room, right? And say what you will, he's 27, 20 years old. There's a lot of really good leaders in this room. I said just a bit ago that he's been the team's best player this season, but I think that Anthony Cirelli is beginning to expect the offense from himself. After a career year last year, I think he's beginning to expect this high level of offense, defense, just becoming that kind of a go-to player for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think he's getting to that point in his career where currently he's averaging more ice time than he has in his NHL career right now at over 19 minutes a game. He wants to be part of this group that gets past the first round of the playoffs and gets his team back to Stanley Cup winning pedigree again. And I really do think that that's his expectation. I don't think it's a hope anymore. I think he wants to be that central piece as a big part of it.
The only other thing, Ben, I would add in regards to Keith's question about Anthony feeling it during interviews, you talked about it, talking to him pregame the other night about perhaps a preparedness. You could say that maybe it's also just a maturity thing.
For sure.
But Ben, an easy sign for me when a guy is just playing solid is that I see them a lot, whether it's an intermission interview because they scored a goal, whether it's a post-game interview on the bench because they score the game-winning goal in overtime. That has been Anthony Cirelli. And after that game against Dallas, when I had him on the bench, he sits down, hey, what's up? We're doing this a lot lately, aren't we? Before we got to the interview, which just made me laugh because, yes, I have talked to that guy so much recently because his play warrants it. He's the guy you want to hear from when he is scoring these big goals for his team.
And they never get sick of Gabby Shirley, by the way.
I don't know about that. All right. Next question, Ben, and I'll have you start with this.
Yes.
Start answering this one. This is from Elisa. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Do you see Nick Paul being another big factor when he comes back? Ooh.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
Paul does it all, right? He can kill penalties. He scores. He plays well in the corners. He's physical. He's sound defensively.
Big body.
And he can take faceoffs. Nick Paul, I would say, is if you were to create an NHL player in a laboratory and say, I need a guy built for playoff hockey, it's Nick Paul. He is exactly what you want from an NHL player come the springtime. And maybe, obviously he wishes he was playing, but hopefully maybe a later start means he comes in perfect shape and he's good to go for the rest of the year. But it's going to for sure be another injection of life into this lineup that, as we just said, all of a sudden has a ton of NHL options at its disposal. But without a question, Nick Paul is going to be a tremendous add to this team that, he does everything that you could ask. And you could ask any question that you or I could ask in a post-game press conference. Hey, Coop, what do you think of your penalty kill? Coop, what do you think of face-offs? Coop, offensively, defensively, he could find a way to say, well, it was really good tonight, but it would be better with Nick Paul. He really could. Every single one of those questions, you could have twist it in some way to say Nick Paul would make us better. And I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, 100%, Ben. And to clarify on his timeline, I'm stealing this from you. You heard it from John Cooper. Nick Paul is on this road trip. He's not expected to play, but as soon as the road trip ends, his status turns to day-to-day. So he could be back anytime, which is great news. Also, Ben, I would say I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Oh, I'm not going to make you choose unless you want to, because I couldn't pick who the Lightning should sit on defense with the return of Max Crozier. But right now at center, we have Point, we have Cirelli, James, and Gord. I like them all. Obviously, James is the least experienced, but it will be interesting to see how the Tampa Bay Lightning shuffle with the return of Nick Paul at center.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think any of them are coming out. If I had to guess, I would say that with Curtis Douglas playing so few minutes lately of time, I mean, the other night he played 2 minutes. And first off, credit to Curtis Douglas for the screen on that Cirelli goal.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
It helps when you're 6'9", right? Nobody's seeing through that guy. And Bobby the Chief Taylor made a tremendous comment on the radio broadcast saying only if you peek through his legs, maybe, if you're the goalie. But you're not seeing through that guy. But I think he has a very defined role so far this season of being that physical presence. And I think if we play a team that has that physical fighting guy, Curtis Douglas is probably drawing in. If I were the coach, which again I will never be an NHL head coach, there's a decent amount of money I'd put in my bank account on that claim. But I would guess we see Douglas come out unless we're playing maybe a more physical team, and one of maybe Gord or James likely slots over to the wing. Paul goes back to that center spot because all of those guys can play at the center or the wing spot. And again, for a team that's struggled in the faceoff dot at times, it just gives you more options then too, right?
Yeah.
For more guys to take the draws is certainly not a problem when you're struggling in the faceoff circle.
So we will see how that all pans out. All right, we're moving on to our plus minus segment, Ben. But first, we have to recognize our proud partner, Penelope Bourbon. You have the prop. I love it. Whether you're cheering at Benchmark International Arena or raising a glass at home, Penelope brings fans together. One pour, one moment, one win at a time. You can find Penelope Bourbon at Publix or at the arena. Go Bolts.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. You start with the plus. Let's hear it.
All right. My plus this week, I had some new challenges this past week at work with some camera work and rival interviews. Now, if you know anything about me, my background is strictly the written word. Grew up in the newspaper.
Written word, the gospel, if you will.
Yes, the newspaper sphere. So it's always fun to try new parts of journalism and communications. I don't have much background at all with the TV side of things as growing up as a newspaper guy. I am certainly no Gabby Shirley. I will be the first to admit that. But I did have fun with those two Arrival interviews, despite my face being all over that massive screen in the arena. Nobody warned me about that part. I was not told it was going to play in bowl. But that was a lot of screen for my mug. But it was fun. It was a new challenge, and can only get better from that. I can promise you that. So it was a lot of fun, though. New challenge for me, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Ben, I love it so much. And I should thank you for filling in for me as you were taking on that new TV challenge. I was also trying to be a host like a Paul Kennedy, which, again, huge shoes to fill.
Big shoes.
never will I even come close to what he does on a nightly basis for this Tampa Bay Lightning team. But that's what I was doing while you were doing the arrival interviews. And I'm sorry, I haven't found them to watch them back, but I heard they were wonderful.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Good job. Okay.
Thank you. What's your plus?
My plus, again, this is like a very, like, you could really debate this topic, but where were we? In Utah. We were in Salt Lake City. I never know what day of the week it is, where we are. No idea. Okay. Yeah. We were in Salt Lake City, early game. So the team did not go to the rink for any sort of skate. So I was up early. It's a time difference. No problem getting myself out of bed and walked to grab a coffee, Ben. And I walked into this coffee shop. It was adorable. And there was a massive Christmas tree just set up in the corner, fully decorated. It was beautiful. Ben is the Grinch. I'm just going to warn all of our listeners and viewers. But I'm really loving already getting into the Christmas spirit. And I have in the past been very clear on my distinction that November is for Thanksgiving, December is for Christmas.
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel that dedication I'm faltering. Like, give me all the Christmas decorations, put them out there, sing the carols. That is my plus. I did not expect there to be a massive, fully decorated, with lights, with tinsel, with ornaments, Christmas tree at this coffee shop. And it brought me so much joy.
See, that's crazy. I had a buddy text me yesterday, and he hadn't responded for a couple of hours. And then all of a sudden I get a picture of his Christmas tree in the living room. And all it said was, my wife said I had a chore.
See, Ben,
and it was to put up the Christmas tree on November 2nd.
So I am applauding this now, but I kid you not. Last year I would have said, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Too early. No, I've flipped. I've totally flipped. I don't know why, but I've flipped.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm the Grinch, so I'll let it go. But
you are the Grinch.
That's fine.
Okay. Grinch, what's your minus?
Well, yeah, we'll get to the minus since I am the Grinch. And I think I have nobody to blame for my minus this week but myself. Because my minus this week is going to be the Green Bay Packers. And I do believe this is karma, I think, for throwing the Go Pack Go into last week's podcast. After Jordan Love's great performance in last week's game, he did not look so great yesterday. This week's game hurt my feelings a little bit from the Green Bay Packers. Tough loss. And the worst part of it all is, on top of it, I'm going to have to spend this entire week ignoring my fabulous co-host, Gabby Shirley, because the Green Bay Packers play the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. And so my minus is that Gabby Shirley and I are going to have to take a week off from being friends until that game is over. So, Shirls, it has been an absolute blast, but I'll talk to you in a week.
Wow. You said I was going to have some thoughts on your minus. Okay. All right. We can go that route. So we're just going to pretend that we don't exist.
No, it's fine. It's a good thing you're on the road, though.
That's true. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, maybe they saw the NFL schedule and were like, we got to do something about Tampa. We got to figure this out.
Shoot, I'll literally probably only see you on Saturday when we come home for that game.
Perfect. That'll
so
be
we only
great.
have to ignore each other really for one day.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that'll be good.
That'll be good.
Just don't wear any ridiculous Philadelphia Eagles colors when you get here.
No, I won't. So, Ben, I also strong feelings on that too. I'm from Philly. I follow the Birds, but like I live in Tampa now, so I also cheer for the Bucks. So
that's fair. All right, maybe we'll both take the Bucks this weekend and call it even then.
Yeah. Okay, we could do that. We could come together on that team.
That's fair. All right, go Bucks. We're good there.
Go Bucks.
All right.
All right. My minus. Sorry, guys. I feel like we're getting a little long-winded here. My minus, sticking to the Christmas theme, is that TikTok has me totally addicted to everyone's holiday gift guides. Ben, I assume you don't see these, but when I go on my TikTok, all I can do is watch lovely ladies talk about the coolest, chicest, trendiest for the girl who has it all, for the baker, for the on and on and on. I'm just looking at holiday gift guides.
This is stressing me out.
Have I bought a lot of holiday gifts? No. Am I excited to? Yes. Yeah. This is what's occupying my brain when I am not focused on this Tampa Bay Lightning team. That's my minus.
So your minus is being stressed that you don't have any gifts purchased?
No, it's just that like this is all I can watch when I'm not doing something that's more productive. Holiday gift guides. It's just like rotting my brain, you know?
Okay. All right. That's fair. So do you have like at least one good gift idea for Clay?
Well, I tried, Ben, to
other
go
than a baby, that's a pretty good gift.
I tried to steer clear of my 3 top topics, which are in the plus minus segment, Lightning, new house, baby. But with the new house, there are like 100 million things that I could buy. Not even that are necessarily so Clay, but like both of us can use, So
yeah, you'll win Christmas.
There's a lot of ideas for Clay right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good minus. I'll give you that one. Even the Grinch will take that one.
Even the Grinch will take that one. All right. So Ben, coming up again, Tuesday, Colorado, Thursday, Vegas, Saturday, Tampa Bay Lightning are back on home ice, Benchmark International Arena, to take on the Washington Capitals. Do you have any final thoughts before we say bye?
No, I will just say the Tampa Bay Lightning have the longest winning streak in the NHL as we speak right now. So hopefully that continues. And a shout out to all the fans who maintained the faith through the tough start to the year, because you are being more than rewarded for that now. And we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Even if some of you were a little grumpy over that stretch, it's okay. We're back. Bye.
See you guys.